Next up, though, we're gonna keep it moving. We got the big homie. Now I've been dying to hear on this type of on platform. Tony from Brick City. Well, I don't know Brick City, but New Jersey. I don't know if it's quite Brick City, but Tony, you up? Let's bring it, man.
My prospects for child rearing evaporated a long time ago. Blame it on 50-cent sodas and quarter waters, candy-colored prophylactics bought and sold to addicts who act with a frenzy typical to toddlers doing backflips off monkey bars inside of the urban jungle gyms. This is 90s Brooklyn living, purse clutching, waist holding. No, the streets ain't pretty, but I was raised within them. Lovingly sheltered and shielded, wasn't allowed to be an active player, but that only sharpened my skill of observation, perception. And because of this perceptive nature, I've become a keeper of stories and narratives unabated, unfiltered or censored. Forget the iambic, this isn't poetry. Pentameters have no hold on me as I relate ideas so beautiful, our very concepts get jealous. Somewhere out there in the world, really down the block from me, there's a little girl who grew up without a father, had a few brothers, sisters, her mother absent, was always out gallivanting on the same pavement we just mentioned, running in the mean streets, running with them cowboys and Indians, both of whom wanted to make her their Sacagawea, and she'd oftentimes let them in front of a little girl too young to understand that tricks wasn't necessarily just for kids. Little girl constantly watched as admirers, paramours, and suitors rushed inside and out of a life that had no room for illusionary father figures apparition-like. And so she was never taught the value that lied inherent within a heart that cried out desperately for affection. What she did have, however, y'all, was a hustle mentality, that do whatever it takes to survive type of drive, because who do you think cared for both brothers and sisters aforementioned? Who do you think cleaned scabs and kissed boo-boos sometimes not visibly seen? Who do you think cooked rice atop of pots inside of kitchens far removed from Michelin stars, inside of homes that were never meant to be observed but rather forgotten about? Who do you think made sure little girl and boy younger went to schools every day, got straight A's, and never made it within the vicinity of harm's way? Yeah. My girl, she was a hustler, had that type of swagger that grown women in their 40s might be jealous of, all before she was even old enough to drive a car. Same girl, develops into woman, crowned a beauty, as graceful as you would expect a diamond in the rough, a rose in the desert to be, as it were, with twisted identity. No love, no guidance from that one man who left a long, long, long time ago in a life that doesn't even exist still. And despite attempts at normalcy, she knew that normal is only exactly what she was handed. And so against a better sense that should have prevailed, she acquiesced, leaving her fate in the streets' hands, giving in to illicit substances that would take her to the clouds so that she could block out visions of painful past. She left herself in the literal hands of strangers lascivious, who lustfully often would mold her into whatever their dream of release would be for the night. Because to her, night didn't even exist. It was her form of escapism, her way to let go of tensions and traumas that followed her from the time she was little girl naive. And so in the streets, they called her Desdemona, which interestingly enough isn't without its bit of irony. Unlike the character fictional, Desdemona no longer had the agency to buck the trends and bridge the divides that would identify her with certain ways of life. She gave up, was tired of being provider, protector, mother to little ones not actually birthed, was tired of constantly fighting against destinies that were way, way too large to handle, because what smart person tries to actually box with God? And because it was clear to her that this is exactly, obviously what he wanted, she gave up. She gave up. She gave up. And adopted adjectives that would suit more deplorable ways of living. And despite the pain and inner turmoil that boiled inside of a stomach that yearned for nourishment, she ate the spirit of her environment, learned that sometimes history does repeat. And it's sad, y'all, because given different circumstances, her life could have been replete with the type of love and validation she always wanted to seek. Eventually, because she lacked the resolve to continue, she sought an end to life, not awake. And before she took that leap of faith, she walked down the block of the mean streets, past the bodegas that sold the sodas and quarter waters, past the urban jungle gyms, past the cowboys and Indians. And as she stopped at the corner between reason and desire, she looked down, found a piece of paper. Didn't look like much, but she picked it up and found that it outlined exactly how she always thought life should be. Because you see, the piece of paper she picked up contained not broken promises of today, but guarantees for tomorrow. And for the first time in a long time, she saw a different path down the street. She noticed a light in the middle of the night that never actually got noticed before, but that actually pointed to what could possibly be home. She found home, y'all. However, I think this is one story better suited to be told another time.
Woo.
Hey, cliffhanger. What a true story. Something happened. Something really I love them.
When I talk about somebody just coming out the gate, just beasting it, like Tony, bro, like I said, man, I've been waiting to hear you just really just let loose. You did not disappoint at all. Like you just let that thing just go. And that was just incredible. I mean, the power, the storytelling, just everything, the wordplay, just everything about that piece was just on point, y'all. And get everybody some love, man. Once again, my man Tony from Jersey.